Right here you made a mistake, Ivan. As for the matter that the Gospel says, it never really happened. You had one job, and you wrote that poem for a short time. But we were unhappy with the poem at all. You described Jesus as if he really existed, but although not an attractive character. Jesus never existed in the world, and I'm going to prove that to you. Narzan, please.
We have no Narzan.
What about beer?
We will have beer delivered just by the evening.
Okay, what have we got right now?
Apricot drink.
Okay.
2 glasses, please. Wow, shit. You know, Ivan, I now almost had a sunstroke. I would say it was some kind of hallucination. I'm over it. It's just high time to give it up and go to Kislovodsk. Okay, let's go on. I want to point you to ancient historians, for example Halo Alexandria, brilliantly educated Joseph Flaria. They never mentioned the existence of Jesus, but the part in the 15th book of chapter 44 of the famous Tacitic Analysis, where it says about execution of Jesus, it's nothing else as a fake insert. There is no Eastern religion in which as a rule a virginal young maid gave birth to God, and the Christians, having no new idea, also created their Jesus in the same way, but he didn't exist in the real world. Let's sit down. This is our main foundation. I also want to point you to ancient Egyptian Osiris. Gracias, God of earth and heavens. Pay your attention to Famous and Marduk, or less known terrible god Huitzilopochtli, that was admired by the Aztecs. German.
Englishman. Just look, he doesn't feel hot wearing gloves.
You, Ivan, esoterically describe the birth of God's son Jesus, but the fact is that many sons of God had been born before Jesus. But I want to assure you that no one of them existed before, including Jesus. And as for you, you shouldn't describe the birth of Jesus as a real fact. Vice versa, you should confirm that as a false information. But it turns out, according with the story, he really was born.
Excuse me. I've never met you before, but the subject of your conversation is so much of interest to me. Let me take a seat between you.
You're welcome.
If I am not mistaken, you deny the birth of Jesus.
Yeah, that's just I said.
You agree with your company, without any doubts. It is amazing. Excuse my curiosity, but I'm sure you don't believe in God. I swear I will not tell anyone.
Yes, we don't believe in God. And we can say that completely freely.
Let me shake your hand. Why did he shake his hand? For very important information. That is too interesting to me as a traveler. But let me ask you. What can you tell me about confirmations of the existence of God? As far as I know, there are exactly 5 of them.
None of these confirmations mostly calls nothing. You should agree. If you think hard, you will not find any confirmations of the existence of God. And that is an indisputable fact.
Bravo! Bravo! You fully repeated the thought of the restless old man Emmanuel. But there is a curiosity. He completely destroyed all 5 confirmations. But then, as if in mockery of himself, created the 6th proof.
But the proof of Emmanuel is not convincing either.
As for me, I would put him in dungeon for about 3 years.
Ivan.
That's right. That's right. That place just for him. I did tell him at breakfast then. You, Professor, came up with something awkward. Maybe it is reasonable, but not clear. People will make fun of you.
With Emmanuel at breakfast?
But I'm sure. But it is not possible to put him in a dungeon, because he's in a much more distant place than dungeon for over 100 years, and he has no chance to break out. It serves him right. I agree with you. But there is a question bothering me. If you don't believe in God, who, as you think, controls human life? People control themselves. I beg your pardon. In order to control your life, you must at least have an exact plan. For more or less long time. Let's assume at least for 100 years. Let me ask you, how can people control something if they cannot foresee their own tomorrow's day? Really, just imagine. You start controlling your life. As they say, enjoy every minute of your life. And bang! Lung sarcoma. Yeah, sarcoma. And here your control is over. You are no longer interested in somebody's destiny, except your own one. Your relatives begin to hide the truth from you. Be in despair, you rush to your doctors, then to some charlatans, and even to some fortune tellers. All these actions are useless. You should understand it yourself. Nothing of that can help you. In the end, all that ends tragically. The one who recently believed that he could control something finds himself lying motionless in a wooden box, and his close people and his family, realizing that he's good for nothing, just burn down his body in crematorium. But it happens even worse. A man is going to sanatorium in Kislovodsk. It would seem just a trifle, but he cannot manage with it too, because it is unknown why, suddenly slips and finds himself under a tram. Will you really say he could do it on purpose? Isn't it right to think he's controlled by someone else?
But...
You want to smoke, as I see. What cigarettes do you prefer?
You want to say you have various?
I said, what do you prefer?
Okay, our brand.
Our brand.
Oh shit. Yes. Yes, human being is mortal. It's hard to challenge. But the point is that...
Yes, human being is mortal. But it's half trouble. The total trouble. When human being is suddenly mortal. That is the real problem. And he cannot say at all what he is going to do tonight.
I think this is an exaggeration. This evening, more or less, is clear to me. Of course, if I don't catch a brick on my head.
A brick would never fall on your head for no reason. In particular, it doesn't threaten you anyway. Believe me, you will have different death.
Maybe you can say exactly?
Why not? 1, 2. Mercury in the second house. The moon has gone away. 6 p.m. At 7 misfortune. You will be decapitated.
By whom? Enemies? Interventionists?
No, by Russian woman, Komsomol.
This is unlikely to be.
I'm sorry, but that is sure to happen. By the way, what are you going to do tonight, if it is not a secret?
It is not a secret. Now I will go home along Sadova Street. But at 10 o'clock p.m. in Masality, in Moscow Association of Writers, where I have an honor of being a writer, there will be a meeting at 10 o'clock, and I will give my speech there.
No. I'm sure. It is impossible.
Tell me why.
Because Annushka has already bought some flower oil. And not just bought it, but even spilled it. It comes out. The meeting will not take place.
Excuse me, why exactly sunflower oil? And who is Anushka?
It seems to me I know the reason. Sir, have you ever been a psychiatric patient? Yes, I have. And more than once. I was everywhere in the world. I regret. I didn't ask the professor. What is schizophrenia? So, you will ask him yourself. Ivan Nikolaevich. How do you know my name? My pardon, Ivan Nikolaevich. Who doesn't know the famous poet Ivan Bezdomny? Please. You just sit here a minute. I have something to tell my friend. Oh, with pleasure. It's so good here under the lime trees. By the way, I am not in a hurry anywhere. That's what we'll do, Misha. He's not a tourist. He's a spy. He's a Russian immigrant who moved here. Let's check up his documents while he's here.
Are you sure?
Believe me, he just pretends to be a fool one to get information from us. Did you hear him speaking Russian? Let's not let him go away. I beg your pardon. In the heat of our argument, I forgot to introduce myself. This is my business card, passport, an invitation to Moscow to give my consultation.
It turns out you are invited as a consultant.
Yes, I am. Are you German? Me? Yeah, perhaps I'm German.
Excuse me, what is your specialty?
I'm a specialist in black magic. Not bad.
You are invited to Moscow on this specialty?
Yeah, the point is that they found in a state library the original manuscripts of warlock Herbert Arlaksky of the 10th century. And they want me to investigate them. I'm the only specialist in the world.
You are a historian.
Yeah, I'm historian. Today, on the Patriarchs, there will be an interesting story. Keep in mind, Jesus existed.
You know, Professor, we have a different point of view on that matter.
There is no need point of view. He just existed, and no more else.
But we need some confirmations.
There is no need of confirmations. Everything is simple. In a white cloak, with the blood leaning, with the shuffling cavalry gait, early in the morning of the 14th of the spring month of Nisan, between the two wings of the palace of Herod the Great, the procurator of the Jews, Pontius Pilate came out